The marketing for this show is truly bizarre. They made the John Halo meme in real life. We've hit peak meta, folks, and we can't stop it now. Hello there guys, gals, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leipalarden and oh boy, you're in for an explosive episode. Literally. Strap in folks, spoilers are ahead, you have been warned. Let's get into it like Chief got into Marquee. Episode 4 begins with us following Vanek as he climbs up onto the roof of Fleetcom's building and chats to some birds. I mean literal birds, not the commonly used English slang phrase. I guess he wasn't kidding in episode 1 when he said he had been getting into nature documentaries. From a distance, Vanek sees a series of explosions going off. The Covenant have attacked. Back in the streets, Chief and Perez are caught up in more explosions as civilians stumble around like it's the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan. One explosion goes off in the home of Perez's family. Chief holds Perez back from running into the fire, telling her that her family is gone. As they continue through the streets, we get a cool little Easter egg where apparently Chief is in arcade games in this universe. Everyone in this part of the city is apparently oblivious to the multiple explosions that went off barely a minute ago, despite Halsey and Soren feeling them in an underground bunker. But everyone starts paying attention as multiple camouflaged elites start chucking people around like rag dolls. Chief puts up a pretty good fight on his own without his armor against a very CGI looking elite, getting a few shanks in and killing it with a piece of wood. Chief and Perez find themselves in a workshop or antique shop or something run by an old woman who really couldn't care less about the city being under attack. OG Halo Xbox on the shelf there, a woman of culture, I see. They keep working their way through the city, which has turned into a battlefield, and coincidentally stumble across Riz. Riz's blind mate, Lewis, and his partner decide to tag along with Chief, Riz, and Perez as they push through the Covey lines to try and get to Fleetcom. And while some of this action looks really cool, the fake muzzle flashes on the gun are just so damn obvious, and the actors don't even try to act like there's a recoil from them. What kind of cartridge does the battle rifle fire? Let me just check real quick, hold on. 9.5 by 40mm M634 experimental high-powered semi-armor piercing. That sounds like it would kick a little bit. No way the muzzle flash is that small, and there's no recoil, even for someone with 4 arms of steel like a Spartan. Lewis's partner cops the L, awkward for him because you can't see him and wouldn't have known he's dead. As they make their way back onto the street, they're pinned down by a Wraith. Finally, we see some more Covenant vehicles in this show. Lewis decides to stay behind, sacrificing himself to destroy the Wraith with a bunch of grenades. Once the team is back at Fleetcom, they reunite with Vanek, who tells them their armor is gone, presumably stolen by Ackerson. Chief goes to confront Keyes, who is leading what's left of the defense at Fleetcom, and admits to Cobalt being killed at Visegrad. Apparently once Visegrad went down, it left a blind spot in the UNSC's defenses, and they had no way of knowing how many Coveys landed on Reach. The Coveys are heading for power stations, which, once disabled, the array of MAC cannons on the planet goes down, allowing the Covenant fleet to begin glassing the planet. All of the UNSC's ships have scampered off, also courtesy of Ackerson's predictions. So, no orbital defense platforms in this timeline, I guess? Why does it seem like Reach is already on its last leg despite being humanity's military stronghold? I just don't get it. Keyes tells Chief to hold his hat as he stands up to deliver a motivational speech, ending it off with another F-bomb that screams Sergeant Johnson to me. The more I see of this version of Keyes, the more I think his character is supposed to be an amalgamation of Captain Keyes and Sergeant Johnson from the games. Likely because the show's writers can't be stuffed to introduce a new character that fills a similar authority figure role. Keyes invites Chief up to the stage to introduce him to all the Marines. Apparently none of them know who Chief is without his helmet on, despite him walking around in his Mjolnir undersuit or just his armor with the helmet off or with his ass cheeks out all the time last season. Chief, Silver Team minus Kai, who is mysteriously missing, the Marines, and a grand total of 1 Scorpion tank, apparently that's all they can spare at Fleetcom, arm up holding a bridge into Fleetcom, giving me serious ODST Oni building flashbacks here. The Scorpion fires around at the bridge, unveiling all the elites running across it. Back in Halsey's holographic prison, she's getting reacquainted with Soren, who is beginning to notice something is going on outside. Another explosion causes the hologram to shut down, and the two unlikely accomplices work together to escape the facility they're in. Halsey casually admits that she let Soren go on purpose after the accident that messed up his arm, which shatters his dreams of thinking he was able to escape the Spartan program and live a life in spite of Halsey. It was all organized by her. Eventually they stumble across Cortana, who immediately tells them to run, as guess who was also in the bunker with them? It's fucking Marquis! Yay! Standing there with a Christopher Walken looking ass hairdo. Wow, it's crazy! I'm alive! Again! I'm gonna take your AI, little man! She walks off and lets the Arbiter do the fighting for her as Soren squares up, throwing a grenade that blocks the path and allows him and Halsey to escape. Halsey and Soren make their way out of the bunker to FleetCom, where they find keys, and they head up to a civilian evac transport on the roof. Soren's spider senses start tingling as several jackals climb up the side of the building to attack the civilians. Keys calls in for reinforcements. Silver Team make their way up to assist as the Marines stay on the bridge to buy some more time. Keys prepares the ship for takeoff, but of course, the fuel lines are still connected. He goes out to uncouple them and leaves Perez in charge of flying the ship. Keys steps out, ejects the fuel lines, and gas begins to pour out. Soren drags Halsey, kicking and screaming behind some blast doors. Keys tells Perez to start the ship. He pulls out his famous pipe. The ship's thrusters ignite, setting fire to the landing platform, killing all the jackals and Keys in the process. Man, fuck! Literally just as I was starting to like this version of him, and he dies. I'm pissed. This was the first death on the show that I really didn't want to happen. Chief and Silver Team make it to the landing pad just a few moments too late, and not before long the Covenant breach the walls and begin attacking again. There's a wonderfully brutal close quarters action scene before the Arbiter and his boys rock up. Chief challenges him to a 1v1, picking up an energy sword to duel him, and you know what? For the first time in a while, I audibly said, that's pretty fucking cool. A nice callback to the Halo Legends short the package, but just as soon as it started getting cool, right, okay? He's shot by a random elite, and the fight stops before it can even start. Come on, dude! The Arbiter decapitates this elite for interrupting their duel, fair enough to be honest, and before the Arbiter can kill Chief, who else steps in to save the day other than Marquis? Yay! And then, right, get this, Vanek grabs a needler and tries to take out the Arbiter, landing a shard in his chest plate. Arbiter pulls it out, stabs Vanek with it, causing him to explode. Dude, I fucking hate this show. Then the Arbiter and Marquis just walk off, just round the corner and leave, letting Chief live another day. The second time they've done that this season as well, and then the episode ends. So, did it suck? Oh man, that didn't suck so much as it pissed me off. So much wasted potential here already. Vanek was easily the best of the Spartans in this show. We were finally getting an episode that focused a little bit more on him after we've seen so much of Kai, Riz, and Chief this season, and the last, and then they kill him off. And Keys as well. I guess the Pillar of Autumn is going to need a new captain, and he's not going to be infected by the Flood. I was kind of looking forward to seeing that and Keys' struggle with the Proto-Gravemind reinterpreted in live action, just not in this timeline, I guess. I also feel like his death was unearned in some respects. Danny Sapani is a great actor, and he's barely been given any screen time this season. Might just be me, but most of my emotional response to this death comes from my connection to the character in the games, and not this version from the show. Given a few more episodes to redeem himself after being such a dismissive prick earlier on, might have made his sacrifice more impactful. However, the deaths were emotional, and it's playing into that rule that Bungie had for Halo Reach, where you're on the edge of your seat wondering which character could be killed off next. No one is safe. Except for Chief. Maybe. Seeing the Spartans fighting without their armor and dying or being seriously wounded from hits that they otherwise could have taken with it was an interesting new dynamic, though I almost find it ironic that the one thing we asked for more in this season was for Chief to keep his helmet on, and yet the theme for the rest of the season almost seems to indicate that we're going to be getting the opposite. Just to spite us, hey. The CGI was also spotty, and a lot of instances where it took me out of the scenes, ranging from laughably bad to those fake muzzle flashes, man, with the light bulbs taped onto the end of the weapons props. Good lord, that looked so obvious in some of the shots in this episode. I can understand why they wouldn't want to be firing blanks, especially in close quarters, for a number of behind the scenes reasons, but another pass from the VFX team wouldn't have hurt, you know? Just a nitpick though. In terms of story, there was a lot to unpack this episode, but it was all bundled together nicely with the action, which is what I think Halo should be like. Less of this internal bureaucracy crap and more shooting. It really appeals to my monkey lizard brain, huh? But it's true, alright? I mean, Halo has always been great at threading its story along throughout the action, partly because, well, it's a video game, it has to, but episodes like this and episode 5 from season 1 prove that it can be done for the format of television as well. I am worried, however, that next week is going to bring the pace down considerably because they blew all their budget on the VFX for this week. I'm going to give this episode a 7 out of 10. The action was a lot of fun, albeit not the most believable at times, and I'm a little torn on the deaths. But otherwise, I thought it was pretty fun. So, what were your thoughts on episode 4 of season 2 of the Halo TV show? Please let me know in the comments section down below. And if you're feeling like it, if you want to be generous and go out like an absolute Chad similar to Keys, you can always hit the like and subscribe buttons. You wouldn't. You're way scared.